On a rural farm in northern Missouri at the corner of Gamble and Foxtail Trail lies what is known to the locals as Grandpa's Farm.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Season 2 of Grandpa's Farm. First thing we need to do is get these cows fed. All the cows survived winter, and everyone had a calf. So let's get over here and get some feed in them. We definitely had enough hay to get them through the winter, so that was good. And now that the ground is thawed out, we will be able to actually get the tractors in the field and start plowing up. Grandpa wants to actually, like last year, we just mowed kind of the brush. Well, he wants us to get that all plowed up this year and actually turn it into a nice, good hay field with good grass instead of, grass mixed with weed and all the other mess. But we'll get these cows fed, and then we'll get over in the field. We're going to get things started by taking the big Oliver out with the field cultivator and start working that field that we mowed last year. We're going to get it worked up, get the ground nice, and he's got a new drill that he's going to have us use to drill in some grass seed. So this thing started. There we go. So pretty much everything that we mowed last year is going to be tilled up, and then we're going to seed it in, alfalfa or just what kind of grass he wants planted yet. But we're going to get started by just ripping it up. So I'll get it ripped up and see you in just a moment. As we're getting this field all worked up here, there we have the one tree out at the edge of this field. So we're going to name this field Lone Tree, which is actually the real hay field on Grandpa's real farm. One of the hay fields is Lone Tree. He also has Pine Tree. That's another one of the field names. But this one's going to be Lone Tree. So we're going to get it plowed up, and then we're actually going to put a driveway in here right between the two fields that'll take us back further, and that's where we're going to be able to have another field that is going to be called the 100-acre field. It is the largest field that's on the real farm. I'm sure in game it won't be an actual 100 acres, but it will take quite a bit of that ground back there. So we'll be working that up in a future episode. On this episode, we're going to focus on trying to get Lone Tree here seeded up. Hopefully it'll get growing soon enough as we work on the other fields. Well, it decided it was going to start raining on us in the middle of plowing this field. So I think while it's raining, we're going to just park for a little bit, start working on the driveway back to what will be the new field back there. This should give us a little bit of a driveway to get us back to the back field. Not sure how long it's supposed to rain. We do have probably close to half of that field done. So we can talk to Grandpa and see what he thinks about getting a drill to be able to drill that in. So let me get a hold of him real quick and see what he says. Hey Grandpa, what do you think about getting that drill so we can get that seeded up?
You read my mind. There is one up at the implement dealer waiting to be picked up.
Well, that is good to hear. I'll get headed that way right now.
Don't forget to pick up the pallet of seed I have with it.
All right, I'll see you in a little bit. Well, he did get us a little drill and a pallet of seed, so we'll be able to get some grass planted. Now, if just this rain would let up a little while, kind of be nice, so we might have to go take the afternoon, or well, maybe not the whole afternoon off, part of the afternoon off, waiting for the rain to calm down and dry up a little. So we'll go back to the house, sit a little while. When it quits raining, we'll go back to work. Well, it has finally quit raining. Ground's dry enough now. One thing I forgot to show you guys, during the winter, Grandpa picked this thing up at an auction. Minneapolis Moline U302. Something new for the farm. Oh, this only holds 200 liters. Kind of a small little outfit. Well, this guy started. Lower down. See if everything works okay. Looks like it's seeding the ground. Yeah. Alright. Kind of hard to tell. The ground looks about the same. We'll get this done, and then we will go back to plowing up the rest of this field. Thankfully, Dad wasn't too busy in the sawmill. He was able to come over and seed this up for us. That makes that go a little easier. This way we can continue doing this before the next rainstorm comes in. I don't think it's supposed to rain anymore today. So hopefully we can get this all done, get it seeded, maybe even slap some fertilizer on it. We do have some manure from the cows already, but we don't have a manure spreader yet. So we're going to have to pick up one of those sometime soon. Spread a little manure. With the rain we had today, I'm not sure if Dad's going to have enough time to get all the way through this field, get it all planted or not. It's a little ways behind, and that little drill is taking its time, not very fast. Well, I'm on my last pass, and then I think we're going to drop this field cultivator off, and we're going to put this tractor in the shop and, you know, for one, clean it out. It's a little filthy, but for two, I think we're going to put the turbo on it. This one's a little weak on power. I think it should have a lot more power, so I don't know if there's something wrong with it or if it just needs that turbo. So that's what we're going to be working on. While Dad finishes up this, he'll probably need seed in a little bit, so we'll come back out when he's empty, fill him up with seed. That should be it for this field, for me. Go, get this folded up. Head into the house. This tractor worked on. Yeah, she was getting pretty filthy. Yeah, that's looking a lot better. Can't believe how much dirt gets in the cab. When you drive with the door open to try to let some cool air in, that'll fill it up pretty quick. At least it did get some rain, so it cut the dust down some. Alright, now let's get in and get this thing upgraded. We'll have to get some seed out first. Dad ran out. Get him filled up, and he can get back to work. Oh. Alright, there it is. Now that he's going again, we can come back here and try to see what we can do with this tractor. Alright. Customize. We want the turbo on it. There we go. $2,200, not too bad. Now it should have enough power to pull it. So when we do the 100-acre field, we're going to want a lot more horsepower. Thought one thing we could do while we wait for him to finish, we could come out here and fertilize this thing. Oh. God, this does have a really wide spread on it. Well, Dad had to go back to the sawmill. He's got an order for pallet lumber to get wrapped up. So I hopped back in this Minneapolis Moline, and we're going to finish seeding this in grass. It's already about 5 o'clock in the evening. So I really need to get going. So put this tractor in full speed and get it done. Well, we're almost done getting this grass planted. Grandma came out a little bit ago and was telling me Grandpa was coming down from the Iowa farm. He brought a piece of equipment down with him. So hopefully we'll see it soon enough. Sounds like he was going to be home tonight. Just have a little bit of this edge left. Could just skip it, but might as well hit it. Hopefully it grows in really good in a few months. Ah, looks like Grandpa's rolling in right now. See something coming down the gravel road. Have to go see what he brought down. Hoping something that'll speed up the process tomorrow when we rip this ground up. Right now the equipment we have is not going to do a very good job ripping it. Alright, this is finished, so let's go see. Well, there he is. Oh, he brought the plainsman down. Nice. Perfect. That'll work really good tomorrow in the field. Alright, let's get that thing unloaded and put it in the shop. See if it's ready to work. Alright, here we are. Yeah, that's nice. It's got the same horsepower as our Oliver tractor, but it doesn't have the duals on it. Looks like this one is just wide tires. Yeah, with that V-ripper behind us, that should work really good. So that'll be our project for tomorrow.
With the addition of the plainsman to the farm, we will now be able to increase our row crop by adding larger fields. Welcome to episode 2, the 100-acre field.
Welcome in, everyone. We're just getting the Oliver all set up to be able to work our field next to the house as we take the new plainsman across to be able to get it started up in the new 100-acre field. It's going to be nice to have one big field on this map. Like I said in the previous episode, the 100-acre field was the biggest field on the farm. And now we're going to recreate that today. Let's get this all started. Well, we got Grandpa out working in this field, so we're going to grab the plainsman and run to the back to get that field started up. Head back here. And 100-acre field was not square by any means, so this one's not going to be either. So a funny story about the V-ripper that we had on the farm. These big four-wheel drives, you know, they're all designed the same that we had. The plainsman, the Oliver, they were all the same base style. Well, the way the rear end of the tractor was designed, it had some kind of issue that it wouldn't slip at all. So the axle was so thin in the middle that the weight of the V-ripper and the pull it had would actually snap one of the wheels off. One of the axles would fall right off, and then the back end of the tractor would just fall right to the ground. But with all-time four-wheel drive like these have, the front end would still pull it. I never got to experience what the ride was like when one of the back wheels broke off, but it would be a rough ride. The Oliver was the one that had the most trouble with this issue because the duals had more weight on the outside pulling, so it put more stress on the axle itself. But like I said, I never got to experience. I'm not sure exactly what it was like when it did happen, but it was quite an issue with them. Let me try to get a good boundary for this field and see what it's going to look like. It's going to be a big field. We never used the V-rippers too much. I mean, it was only really when the ground is really dry and we need to get deep in to let water saturate farther down. I mean, they came in handy if it was going to be a flood year because the ground was ripped so far down that the water would sink in and it wouldn't stand up in the field as bad. Most of the fields were bottom grounds along a creek, so there was a levee, a dike system around the creek, but during heavy flood years, sometimes that levee would get blown out, and then of course all that sand from the creek would come into the fields. Well, the issue with that, you would always have, these big sand dunes out in the field that you'd have to sit there and try to work around, try to get the sand down and the dirt up on top. Well, that was always a problem because, you get stuck. The big disc weighed enough that it would sit there and start burying the disc in the sand. And sometimes with these four-wheel drives, you could wiggle them back and forth to get some traction to be able to pull itself out. But a lot of times, I was born in the 80s, so I wasn't very old during the 80s series would have been. But in the 90s, a lot of times I'd have to go get Dad and say, hey, the Oliver is stuck, or the Plainsman was stuck, and he'd have to bring the other one to try to get me out. So that was one of the dilemmas we always experienced with after a flood the previous years, trying to get rid of the sand that's in the field. Let me continue this field. Let me get the 100-acre all worked. We got the outer perimeter done. There's a few trees in the middle that I do need to get rid of. So we will do that. Then, of course, we'll have to bring some lime out here. We still have lime from last year left over. We actually put it in the bin. Of course, in real life, you're not going to put that in the bin. If you put it in the bin, you would never get it back out of the bin. Kind of hardened. So, but we're going to pretend like it's just fine and bring it out here and lime the field. I just missed a little piece. If I don't fix it now, I'll never fix it. Alright, well, let me get this 100-acre field worked up, and then we'll get some lime in it. Well, we're about to get the 100-acre field wrapped up. Not sure if it looks like 100 acres to you guys or not, but it's definitely big enough with this little V-ripper. I do like the bigger discs. Grandpa's still going down there in that field. Might have to touch up a few spots on the corners. Other than that, he should be done really soon. She had a lot smaller field and a bigger machine. So yeah, it looks like he just now finished. So we'll finish this field up, then we'll go down to the smaller field next door and touch up the little spots that got missed. Now that this field's all done, let's run back and touch up the little spots on the other. We'll use the Oliver. I guess we could use this. No, we better use the Oliver, since it's not plowing, it's just cultivating it. Looks like it was pretty much just the headlands that got missed. Except for maybe this one here. I'm not sure what the excuse is on this one. We'll grab it. Then we got the other two corners to do. And it'll be ready to be seeded. I don't believe this field needs lime this time. I believe it was still good since we just put lime on it last year. We'll get it some fertilizer on it. Not sure if we should cultivate the 100-acre field, because all we've done so far is ripped it and plowed it up. We should actually get it cultivated or disked, make the ground texture a little better. We'll see what it looks like after we lime it. I think before we get to spreading lime on those fields and fertilizing, I think we need to get up here and get this thing washed off. So it'll be done until tomorrow. Let's just try to clean this thing off, make it look good again. All that dirt getting up in it. Not too worried about the cultivator. It's going to be dirty anyhow. At least we'll try to keep the tractor nice and clean. There, get it parked, put away. Alright, here we go. Now let's get on to the next thing. But one thing I've realized after having more calves here over the winter, that we are going through a lot more feed. So let me get in here real quick and these guys fed up again. Fed up again. Yeah. Get them fed again. feed in their bunks. This is a little more realistic than just dropping a hay bale in here. So we'll feed them this way. Using our good old trusted Deutz here to do the work. Well, we better get back out and get in the field before we lose all the daylight. I think I'm going to go ahead and spread the fertilizer before I get the lime, since the fertilizer cart's already filled with fertilizer. They're trying to get it dumped out. Fertilize this old field first. I'm not sure if we can lime and fertilize, fertilize the field first, if we go ahead and lime after it or not. We may actually put a round of fertilizer down on the 100-acre field too. Maybe that'll be enough ground to get through this whole cart. This definitely needs some fertilizer on it. We did corn in this field last year, so this year this will be the soybeans. We'll put the corn down in the south place, and we'll probably do the 100 acres in corn this year also. Depending on how the year goes, if we'll turn any of it into silage, or if we'll be able to harvest it all. So we won't know that till the harvest time, obviously. So let me get this thing all fertilized up, and then we'll move back to the 100. Well, we got that field all done. I think we'll call this field the 55. That was one of the fields on the farm, 55, which is a 55-acre field. So we'll call that one 55. Of course, this one's the 100. Then we got the hay field, the lone tree. We got the field back in the back. That's called the south place. Of course, we'll grow down there a little bit more this season too. It'll be a little. We'll get another pasture down there. Maybe another hay field. I'd like to find an open range map. It's where the cattle can just be in a regular pasture instead of having to have a barn. I know there's some mods out there, so I haven't really found one where you can have them just go anywhere and build a fence around it. So hopefully I can find something for that. If you know of any, that'll work that a way where you can just put a fence around a piece of land and the cattle can roam wild in it. Let me know. Put that in the comments. I'll have something to look into for the next episode. Let me continue with this one. Looks like I'm still going to have fertilizer left by the time this is all done. This is quite a bit bigger than the 55. We'll see how it goes. Well, we didn't use up much of our fertilizer, so we're still going to have plenty of fertilizer in here to try to get out, or to put the lime in. Pretty well used up, or pretty well finished up though. Little piece right here. Shut this thing off. Take this back to the house and see if we can get some lime put in it. Well, I couldn't get the fertilizer to go into the bin, so instead, I think we'll pull this all the way up. We just put them in totes. I mean, that's realistic, right? I think so. Every farm in the 1980s had a tote laying around. Let's head back to the 100-acre field before it gets too dark and hopefully get the lime spread. Don't know if we're going to have enough lime to do this whole field, but I think that'll finish it for today. Come back next time where we're going to get these fields planted, both the 55 and the 100. We'll head down to the south place. We'll get that field ripped up and try to look and see how we want to expand it down there.
With the creation of the 100-acre field, we are able to nearly double our row crop acres. In today's episode, we will get many of those acres planted. Welcome to episode 3, Working the Ground.
Well, it is now April, so this is a good time to get some seeds in our planter. Start getting out to the 100-acre field and start seeding it up. We're going to actually do corn this year in the 100-acre field. So I'll head down there and probably have Grandpa get started on it before we head back to the south place to get it plowed up. Thanks for joining us. Well, I had to get it going with the 2105 or 2110. Oliver just had some kind of issue and didn't want to pull the planter today. So we switched everything over to that tractor, and now the white's going to do the work. So I'll take this back, put it in the shop, and have it checked out, see if there's anything wrong with it. And then we'll head on down to the south place. Looks like we have enough fuel in this good old Oliver here. As you can tell, our grass actually came up already in this field. It's not even planted yet, so we're going to have to get some herbicide on it, kill those weeds off. But yeah, we got plenty of fuel in this. Unfortunately, the white was low on fuel. I forgot to fuel it before I took it to the field. I'm sure I'll have to come back later and get some fuel for it. Plus, we'll have to run to town and get more seed. So we've got all kinds of things we need to do today. My main goal to get started is to get that south place all tilled up. So that's what we're going to be doing. Looks to me like we have a weed problem everywhere this year. We're going through a lot of herbicide. Could have brought the V-Ripper out here and ripped it. Maybe that would have got deep enough to kill the weeds off. But it takes so long, as small as it is. Figured I'd much rather run the Oliver. We didn't finish last year all of the straw off of it. We had enough straw for the cattle. We didn't really need to worry about any more. So that's why there's still some straw on this field. We'll till it in. It'll kind of work as a fertilizer. Then we're going to also, later on this summer, put in another cattle pen. Do some fence work down here. Try to run some cattle down on the south place. Dad's still clearing out these trees here, so that'll give us more room to get probably another hay field down here. So with another pasture for the cattle, we're going to need more hay. So that's some of our goals to do this year. But let me get this all plowed up or disked up, and I'll get right back with you. Well, I'm not getting very far today. Actually, Dad is now running the Oliver, tilling up that south place, and Grandpa sent me to town to get more seed. So that's what we're here doing. We're already out of seed for the cornfield. Stop here at the shop and get some more. Here we are, getting the last pallet loaded up. There we go. Gotta get a couple straps on those. Don't want them to go anywhere. Well, if you are a farmer in real life, you'd leave in the comments what crops you plant in your fields. Here on the farm, we are mostly corn and soybeans with the occasional winter wheat. It looks like he stopped right here, needing the seed. So let me get some of the seed dropped off. Alright, there he goes. Now we can get back to help Dad out. Alright, now we're back. We're running the Oliver. And we've got a big chunk of it done. Actually, Dad got a big chunk of it done when we were gone, picking up the seed. Not too much left here, but boy, this tractor is definitely getting filthy. I'll have to wash it again when we get back to the house. At least we're moving along pretty good today. Hopefully we can get the 100-acre field planted and then move over to the 55-acre field, get it planted in soybeans. And then if we still have time today, we might even run the planter down here and plant this one in corn. So quite a few goals today, but we'll try to get through them all. Let me finish this field and then we'll go move on to the next. Well, this field's pretty much done. Just going to get this little corner down here that I kind of missed. I went around it. Dad just told me Grandpa's got a long ways to go on the 100-acre field, so we might take the new Minneapolis Moline out with the little drill and drill the soybeans in on the 55-acre field. That way we can keep things moving and not have to wait for the planter. So I'll get this thing back, get it washed off, and then I think we'll grab the Mini and take it out to the 55. Making it look a little nicer so you can see out the windshield again. Which we should be done with this tractor for a while unless we put a new hay field in. Alright, so let's put away here. Try to get this parked out of the way, and then we'll grab the, see, we're It's not the right mini. Must be back by the bin. So we'll go back there, grab it, and see how much seed we have. Well, we don't have a whole lot of seed in here. We got enough to get started. I was able to get some fertilizer in it too. Last time I tried, I wasn't able to get the fertilizer in right. You know, now that we have those totes over there by mistake, I was able to get it right in. I'll start seeding this in soybeans while Grandpa's clear back in the far corner. I don't know if you can see him or not. He's way back there, still working in the 100. So I'll seed this up while he finishes that up. I think my seed setting might be a little high, because that's as far as I've gone, and I am already out. I haven't even got 2 headlands done around this field, and I have already ran out of soybean seed. Now I've got to run back to the south place, grab our pickup, and put some seed in it. Looks like Grandpa, make sure he's still going good. He's still running, so that's good. So I'll run back there and grab our pickup. Now for those of you who are paying really close attention, this is going to magically become soybean seed. As we know earlier, it was corn seed. But it's the same thing on the game, so we're just going to do it that way. I guess it only holds 200 liters, so I guess I can't say too much. If I get it going here. Alright. Go back and start seeding again. And here we are, ran out of seed again. Get this thing filled back up. I'm really looking forward to the 90s when the drill got a lot bigger. It was over 3 times the size of this one. It was actually big enough that Grandpa used... Ooh, looks like we need fuel too. But we're going to do that real quick. Grandpa used a, I believe the Steiger tractor would have been on that drill. Okay, let me run across to the house and get some more fuel. It seems like that in the 90s and early 2000s, the tractors on the farm changed quite a bit. Minneapolis Moline was pretty well non-existent besides the Plainsman. And even the Oliver, I think the only Oliver there would have been in the 90s would have been the big Oliver here. So a lot of changes would be coming in the 90s. And I'll get back over and finish up this bean field. Well, I was doing some checking and I just noticed that, you know, we're fertilizing it, and we actually used the other fertilizer cart earlier to fertilize it. So it's saying our fertilized state is only 50%, which is the exact same as over here at 50%. So we're ended up using twice the fertilizer and we're getting nothing out of it. So I wish I didn't have any fertilizer in here. We're just wasting all that because it's not helping it any. Oh well. I'll get back to working. Should be filling up the drill for the last time. I'm hoping. We're getting really low on seed. Actually, now we are out of seed. So hopefully this will be enough. I'm not worried about the fertilizer because, like I said earlier, it's not working. It does not work. We don't have too much left here. And Grandpa's got the 100-acre field almost wrapped up also. Of course, it's starting to get a little dark. What is it? A little after 6 o'clock already. But I'll finish this and hopefully Grandpa, he should be done about the same time. Well, it does look like I got done before he did. I don't see too much lime left in that field, so he must be almost finished. But I'll go park this and then go over there with the pickup and check on him. Yeah, he's only got maybe, let's see, maybe one more round and he'll be finished. I think we're going to wrap this up pretty soon. Might see if he wants me to take over. Well, Grandma had supper ready, so he took my pickup in and he's having supper now, and so I'll get to finish this little bit. That way I can take the credit for planting the 100-acre field. Let's see, I don't know if I can quite get it all in one more pass. I'll have to come back. Yeah, it looks like I can get it all. Yeah, I missed a little spot here and there. Be close enough. Then tomorrow we got to go back to the south place and plant it in corn, I believe, is what Grandpa wants back there. He is wanting to do some silage this year, so hopefully we'll have a good yield on the corn so we can make some silage.
Now that we have the main farm all planted, we will venture to the south place to plant our last field and add a new pasture to the farm. This is episode 4, the southern pasture.
Welcome in to the final day here on Grandpa's farm of planting season. We're headed down to the south place today with a full planter. Going to seed it up in corn. If you were with us in the last episode, you know how we planted soybeans in the 55-acre field, and then the 100-acre field was all row crop corn also. So this time we're going to come down here and also plant the south place in corn, because this year we're going to be doing some silage because we're going to double our cattle. We're going to have enough cattle that we're going to need a lot more feed for them. So let me get the planter started. Right down on this part of the field is where Grandpa wants to put the new pasture in at. He does have a new batwing mower for me to try to be able to mow all the brush and get it cleaned up for it. But as you can tell, I forgot to get fuel in this tractor yet again. But we'll keep planting a little bit longer and then we'll run back to the house, get some fuel, and probably have to fill back up and seed. Well, we now have Dad back planting the south place. We have the new brush hog batwing mower that we're going to go back and start cleaning out what's going to become the new pasture. This time we're not going to bale it up since we have lone tree that's going to be our hay field. So it should be ready within a month or two. We'll be able to get it harvested up, baled, and we do have enough hay to get by till then for sure. I want to put in a pretty good sized pasture down here. Of course, on the south place, we really did have a small pasture down there. Most of the pasture is actually up by the main farm. But on this map, we really just don't have room up there since we wanted to put a lot of fields in that area. But I'll get all this mowed here, and I think how far I need to go. Then we're going to use barbed wire fencing for the pin. So that's what we always had up there. There's a little bit of woven wire and some cattle panels around the cattle barn, but most of it was just regular barbed wire. Let me finish mowing this and go check on Dad. He'll probably need seed coming up soon, so we'll probably have to run to town. We used all of our seed yesterday, so buy another pallet of corn seed. I'll get this finished up. Occasionally I did get to take the batwing out to mow the pastures. We had a lot of multifloral rose bushes that were always aggressive and just taking over the pasture ground, and cows didn't really want to go in them. You'd have to sit there and they just pick and choose where they wanted to eat, and all these weeds would grow up and it'd be a wasted space. So we'd come in here with the batwing and mow it up. Then cows would start using it again. Then it'd become nice pasture ground. Just had to keep it cleaned up, and it worked great. We have most of this done here. It'd be a pretty good sized pasture. It'd be nice to be able to bale it up and get something out of it. But as soon as we get this done, we'll finish that cornfield that Dad's working in, and then we will put the pins in here, build a fence around it. Well, that's the last of this. Get this thing all put away, and then we will run to town and get some more seed. See you back at the farm. well, I believe this is going to be more seed than he's going to need in the field, but I couldn't get just a half a pallet. I only sell them in full pallets, so let's see where he's at. Not sure where he is. Am I blind? Oh, there he is. The mirror was blocking it. Let me run out there and get it filled up. Alright, there we go. That'll be more than enough to have some seed to start next year. Alright, well, let's get this thing back to work. We should be able to finish it up for him. He can take the pickup back to the house. Kind of like using this little white anyhow. It's kind of nice. I think we got to get out here and get it fertilized. We'll round a fertilizer on it today, and then get our new pasture put in. Some fence build. We should be done. Let me finish this field up, and we'll take it back to the house and build a new pasture. Here's the last little corner to finish up. How many acres this field is? It's a pretty good sized field. But this will probably be our field that we're going to do the silage in. We got to put a silage bunker in. It's actually over the west farm is where the real silage bunker is, but we don't have a west farm on this one, so we'll put it probably down here somewhere. Get some silage wagons and a chopper. We had both a self-propelled chopper and a two-row pull-behind chopper on the farm. The self-propelled, the power unit on it, actually became one of the engines that ran the sawmill. So then I think Grandpa ended up buying a newer self-propelled chopper. I'll go get this put away, and then we'll come back here and build the pasture ground. Well, I have a few different pasture mods I was thinking about. We got this free range one here. And granted, the money doesn't matter because it's Grandpa's farm, so he supplies all the money for it. But this one here is open range. The only issue with it, we have to provide water, and I'm wanting to put a pond out here on the pasture so we don't have to supply water. So I think instead of doing that one, and this one only holds 50, there's this one here that holds 200, but it looks like it also needs water. And then this is the last one, it only holds 40 cows, but you don't need water. So I think, oops, hit the wrong button there. Let me get back in there. I think I'm going to still go with this one. It's got a little decoration I don't really care for. But I think it'll work best for us, since we don't have to bring water every time. So when you have a pond here, you don't need the water. There we go. Alright, now I'll get a fence built around it. Now with that, we've got the grass kind of removed, the mowed grass that we had. We'll come up here and try to get this fence built. Not sure how much cattle are going to really use, but my goal is to use the whole piece of ground and then put the pond in somewhere in the middle, maybe a little not a storage building, but a little shed for them, just for shelter. And stop right about here and put in some kind of gate. Move it over there. Alright, find the largest gate. I think that's the largest one. That should be big enough. There. And finish our fence out there. And same way on the other side. Collides with itself, pretty much. No, maybe. See if I can start. There we go. I was just going from the wrong direction. There. That'll work for now. Maybe I can put another gate in here. Yep, see, it's going to collide. I'll get that figured out, but here, this is what it's going to look like. get a pond put in. That's what I'm going to do next. Try to put in our pond right here. See if I can try to make it somewhat the right depth. I'm never good at trying to raise and lower the terrain correctly. We're going to see if we can make it work. Don't want it too big, but definitely big enough for at least 40 head of cattle. There we go. Alright, let me get the water in here. Get the right height. There we go. Perfect. That'll work. That'll work as our drinking pond for the cattle. Now all we need to do is get the cattle. Come over here and see what we're needing. I believe it's the brown. No, it's not brown. So let's try and figure out what other cows we already have. It's the limousine. I think we're gonna go with some Angus, I believe. Let's start with some Angus heifers. This will hold 40. So let's get 20 of them. Then later on, we'll have to get another bull. There we go. All right. Now let me get some feed into them. Hopefully this field here on our left, Lone Tree, hopefully it'll hurry and get ready to be harvested. Because I said we had plenty of hay, but now that we're adding a second pasture, we are going through hay a little faster than I wanted. This is 2 bales worth here, and still probably have at least 10 bales left. I'm not sure how many more months it's going to be until Lone Tree's ready. I also need to put in another driveway back to the pasture ground, because going this way we get really close to the field if we keep going straight. So if I put a new path through here, maybe cut down a few trees, that will make it go a little easier to get back to the cattle. As you can tell, I kind of drive through the field a little bit, and once the crops are up, it's not going to be a good thing. Here we are, getting fed. Gonna get the gate working here because obviously there's some kind of collision. I don't know if that's where the slurry comes out or just what. It won't let me put a fence or a gate in there. I don't want to put a gate on the other side and have to open it every time to get to their feed bump. Get this filled up. Oh, looks like they're already in the water. So here it is, April. Can't be that warm out yet. So they found the water already. Finish this, and we got to get back here and fertilize this field. Took everything we had, so let me get the fertilizer cart and get back here. Well, it looks like the fertilizer cart is still empty. So thankfully we have some magical 1980s totes over here still. That when we unloaded it previously, that we will come over and load up. I think I needed any line back there this year. Let's get all these filled up. Not sure how many liters it's going to take. I definitely want to get all this used up I have just laying around. Alright. 3,500 liters of it. It's pretty good. Now I'll get back down to the South Place field and get it fertilized. Well, I got the new trail put into the cattle pasture. There's only one tree going in this way that I had to cut down. We'll have Dad bring the loader out here later on and load it up and take it to the sawmill. Yeah, I cut it the right size for him. This will make it a lot easier than going through our cornfield to get to it. I'll get back here and get this fertilized. Here we go, getting this thing all nice and fertilized up. So it'll grow a little better, a little faster. Hopefully get a better yield out of it. Be nice to have fertilizer built into our planter, but in the 80s we didn't really have that on our planter, so we did it this way. So that's how we're going to do it now. I'll finish this up and we'll get back to the house. One thing that did happen between episode 3 and this one was the barn, our main cow barn. Must have had a mod conflict in between, and I don't know if it did an update or what, but I got on the map, or on this map the other day, and the barn was gone, including all the cattle. And I hadn't been to it yet, so I didn't even realize it. And I saved the game, and then I'm like, it's too late now. It's already been saved. It's saved with that barn missing, all the cattle missing. So then I had to try to find it again in the mod hub, reinstall it, and try to remember just how many cows we did have in it. So I hope I put it all back together the way it was supposed to be. But that was one little issue we did have. I'm trying to figure out now, what do we do with this? You know, we talked about, well, you could say it burnt down or something, but you know, this is a true to life map that we didn't really have that happen. The cattle barn didn't burn down. I don't recall anything actually ever burning. We always had some storm damage. I thought, well, we could have some storm damage, but the barn is completely gone. So I just put it back together the best my memory was showing. So
now that summer is just around the corner, weeds are growing in our fields and hay is in short supply. This is episode 5, The Bunker.
Welcome in, everyone, to another episode here on Grandpa's Farm. As you can tell, it is now May, and the crops are up, but so are the weeds. So we have got to get those weeds taken care of today before they overpower the crops. And right now I'm just headed back to the south place to feed the cattle. We are running a little low on hay bales. So it looks like Lone Tree here is just about ready to be mowed for the first cutting of the year. So as soon as we get the cows fed, we're going to get some spraying done, and then maybe by next month we'll be able to mow that up and get some hay bales off it. So won't you join us? As you can tell, we got some weeds in the cornfield back here also. So thankfully the corn's not too tall to spray yet. Those cows are doing pretty good. Looks like they're already swimming in the little pond we gave them. Now that it's May, it's getting a little warmer, but not too bad yet. This guy's just about finished here. Then we'll get back and probably bring the little Oliver tractor out to spray the fields. Ooh, thankfully I didn't destroy any of the corn turning around in it. But let me go back, grab the Oliver tractor and the sprayer and get out here. I know this is probably not the smartest tractor to spray our chemical with, but you know, we did it last season. Why not do it again this season? It did really good spraying with this. It's kind of nice to get a cultivator out here to be able to get through the weeds, but we already own the sprayer. Probably the simplest thing to use. Although I know you're supposed to try to stay between the rows. See if I can even do it. Yeah, it looks like the tractor's pretty well lined up to where I could do that. But of course, you know, it's Farming Simulator. You don't have to be perfect. You can drive over the crops. Well, I'll spray the rest of this field. Then we've got the 55-acre field to spray also. The 100-acre field, we plowed it, you know, when we created that field, so we don't have to worry about spraying it this time. So that'll save us some time, but we do need to get this and the 55 done today. So I'll spray this up, and then I'll get back with you when we get down to the 55. Well, the south place is finished up. Now we just got to get back to the house to fill this thing back up with water and some more chemical. I think a full tank will definitely be enough to get the 55-acre field done. But back when I would spray the fields in real life, I used an AgChem sprayer. It was a little over 1,200 gallons. But instead of going with the rows, I would actually cut across the rows. So if you went down the row and the tire was off just a little bit, now you just wiped out 2 complete rows. But as long as you're going across them, you're just running over a few plants each time. I thought I'd save a lot more crop by just going against the rows instead of with them. Somebody parked the U right in front of where I can get some water. Some back in there. So, anyhow, I'll fill this up with water and some more chemical, and then we'll get across the street and spray that. Let's get over here and get this all sprayed up. This is our boom, hit the mailbox. There we go. Get our beans all sprayed up and looking nice. Then we can call it a day and come back. Oh, probably in June. It should be ready to mow up the lone tree. Almost said pine tree. That was a different field that we have on the farm. Another hay field, but a different one. So here, let me get this 55 all sprayed up, and I'll go to sleep, and we'll see you in next month. So about a month from now. Well, now that it is summertime, the bean field's looking really good here. And I believe our hay field is ready to be mowed. So let me grab the U and the little sickle mower, and then we'll get started. There we are. I really wish we had a bigger mower than this, but this is what we had on the farm back then, so this is what we get to use. It's not the fastest thing in the world, but you know, it was a really simple machine back in its day. There wasn't a lot of work to it, just replace some of the teeth on it, the blades, and put it back into the field. Very simple. And the rake you have, you know, it just wasn't even PTO driven. It just ran off of the wheel. When the wheel turned, the rake turned. So let me get some of this mowed up, and of course we'll have to wait till tomorrow when it dries enough to be able to rake it up. We can actually make hay instead of just grass. It is a pretty good sized field. Looks really nice. Look even nicer when it's all baled up. But I will do some mowing here, and then I will see you tomorrow. Well, Lone Tree was all mowed up yesterday. Now it's ready to be raked. I think it's probably dried enough overnight. The sun has been out. Right now it's a little cloudy skies, but you know, the sun was out most of the day yesterday. So we can get in here and start raking this puppy up. Sure I got it all set right? Yeah. Oop. Of course I'm raking the wrong direction. That's not what I want. Let me go the other way here. I should know how to rake by now. There. Alright. Yeah, it looks dry enough. Then I'll just go around the field and just keep going in circles and then rake it to... I'll rake 2 rows together into the middle. That's what my goal is. So let me do some raking here, and then I'll go grab the baler and see how many bales we can get off the Lone Tree this year. I think we'll probably be able to get a second cutting before winter hits, since it's only June. So let me break this up and then start baling. Well, I just got reminded that I was supposed to take the beans to town already, and I forgot. So Dad's actually out in the field right now working, and I'm gonna haul some beans to town. We also got corn to do. So let's see here. Soybeans 21,000 and 39,000 of the corn. So let me load up on beans, and we'll take that into MFA. That's where we sell it at. We're going to be able to get it all in these 2 loads, but it'll be enough to definitely get started. So let me run to town and get these sold real quick. My dad works in the field, and I got to get baling. So I plan on baling right now, but I totally forgot about doing this project. I've already lost a little bit on the market value. Not too bad yet. I don't want to wait any longer, let the price get too low. Like I said in the previous episode, the money in the top right really doesn't matter. It's all based on what Grandpa spends, and it's his income on these beans. So I'll go sell these and see how much we can get out of them. I know my uncle is supposed to be bringing down a Chevy grain truck from the Iowa farm, but they're not using up there anymore, so hopefully that'll show up, you know, by the end of the day or tomorrow, so we can use it to haul the corn to town. That'd go a lot quicker than this. I mean, I can hold, what, 17,000 liters between the two trailers? I don't think this tractor really has the power to pull the third one. I mean, it's doing pretty good, but two trailers is quite a bit for it. Plus, it's quite a little drive to get to town. Just about there. We actually had two grain trucks on the farm in the 80s. There was a Chevy grain truck that we'll be bringing down from the Iowa farm that you'll see later in this episode. And then there was also a Ford truck. I did actually download it from the mod hub. I don't know if it's called Ford or what it is, but in real life I'm pretty sure it was a Ford truck. I know it was a really odd color green. Kind of probably close to the trailer of these, or the color of these trailers that we're using. Let's see what one of these is worth. The rural community that we grew up in, there wasn't too many places to sell the crops at. MFA is where probably everything in the 80s went. We did have a big pig confinement come in later on. It was probably towards the late 90s before the pig confinement came in, and then you could actually sell your corn to them. And some of our corn did go there. They were really strict, though, on moisture content. We did have a grain dryer on the farm, but you know, if we could sell a little bit wet to MFA, it was a lot easier than drying it, because MFA had their own dryers. So we could sell it there, a little wet, or we could run it through our dryer and then sell it to the pig confinement. Yeah, this is making pretty good money. Not sure what it was really like back then on price, but I know we never would have used these wagons going clear to town. Definitely would have used one of the trucks. As soon as this one's sold off, we'll run back and grab the rest of the beans. Alright, another 19,000. Let me go back and finish the beans. I'm not sure if there's going to be... we just need one of the wagons, or we'll still need a boat. My daughter was just asking, how is all that dirt getting in the cab? And I was thinking, you know, back in the 80s, you know, the tractors we were using, the big four-wheel drives like the Plainsman and the Big Oliver, you know, they either had the door open when we were disking the field, or the door was missing. And dust would just roll in. You'd be wiping the windshields off, trying to be able to see. And then with this door here off, or open, either way, whichever one we did, when I was a kid, I would ride at the tractor with my dad, and we'd put a little bungee strap across where the door would be. For some reason, that little bungee strap was to make you feel a little more comfortable, like that's what was going to hold you in the tractor, knowing it's not going to do anything. That bungee strap's probably going to cause more trouble than it is good. But you know, it was there, and it looked good at least. So here, let me pull into the bin real quick and get the rest of our beans on. It's only another 4,000, so we don't need to take both trailers, so we'll drop the second one off here. Alright, hook. There we go. Alright, now I'll take this to town and see you in town. Alright, the remainder of our beans. This is, of course, last year's harvest. We didn't sell any of the crops last year. We still had enough money to operate with. Saved everything till the prices were good enough, and hopefully by the time we bring our corn in, we will have a grain truck to haul it. Come on, come on. I'm so slow in these little gravity wagons. Alright, 8,900. We'll get back to the farm, we'll hook this tractor up to the baler, and we'll start baling. Looks like Dad's got most of that field all raked up. Get in here and figure out where the baler is. Oh, looks like the baler might be tucked in behind the fertilizer cart. We'll need to pull the fertilizer cart out, get it out of the way. We'll actually need it later to probably fertilize the hay field again. So I'll just leave it out here. So we're tucking it away. It's not supposed to rain tonight, so we should be okay. But it's got 54% full. That should be more than enough to fertilize the hay field. You get back and get that baler. When I talked to Grandpa last, I asked him just what kind of baler he did have in the 80s, and he was thinking it was a Vermeer baler. I mean, I thought that came later, more like the 90s, but the thing is, I can't find on the Mod Hub or anywhere, you know, in Farming Simulator, where I could find a Vermeer baler that was a little bit older than they are now. That's alright, we'll just use this old paste baler. That'll do the job. Yeah, he's just got a few more rows left and he's done. You know, when I started this, I was just going around in circles with it. But, you know, it'd be easier by just having somebody else do it. Just go back and forth down the field. So, already got one bale made. So I'll get the rest of these bales done, and that'll be finished up soon. See how many bales we get out of it. Well, we have 40 bales off it so far. Might be able to get one more. Yeah, it's going to be pretty close. I'd like to get even 40. Let's see if it'll make it. Well, not when I start baling before I get it down, but then we'll get these all picked up, because then we need to get this thing fertilized. Yeah, we're not going to get another bale off it. I guess it'll just sit in the baler, since we can't pick out a partial. But then we'll come pick these up, fertilize it, and then tomorrow we need to start working on our silage bunker. So, see you in a little bit. Looks like we got down to 8 bales is all we had left. Wish that would have lasted, you know, another, 10 days maybe. Especially since it's summer. They have, I mean, the cows in the barn, they need the grass, but the ones on the south place, they pretty well feed themselves off the pasture ground. So let's start hauling these bales out. I believe this thing will hold 8, 10. I think probably 10 bales each trip. So we need about 4 trips. I already got the Deutz hooked up to the fertilizer cart. So once these are off, we can start fertilizing. Well, it turns out I don't know how to count, because it turns out there was only 39 bales, not the 40 like I was originally had thought. But 39 is pretty good. Oh, and looks like my uncle's coming down with the new feed truck. Not sure why I missed this bale. Take that last bale. Come on. Just turn around here and grab it. It's not full there. Whew. Thought maybe there was something wrong with that last bale. There, Owen looks like he brought in a silage cart too, one of the silage wagons. Because that's what we need to do next, is build that silage bunker. So yes, this is one of the grain trucks we had on the farm. An old Chevy pickup or truck. Not sure what year they were, but those were the colors too. Some cream color with a red box. Of course, that's not quite the silage wagons we used, but it's pretty close. Same style. Of course, we only had 2 axles instead of 3. That'll be nice. We'll get that started up and get it parked, and we can start building our silage bunker. Here it is, the new Chevy C70 grain truck. If I can turn this in here without hitting anything. Try to get our wagon put away, because we still got to haul that corn to town. And now that this truck's here, it'll make it a lot easier. Let's see where he wants it. Trying to keep it out of the way. There. Let's park it here for now. Now I'll run over to the grain bin and get our corn loaded up. We have 39,000 liters of corn, and of course this I think only holds 25,000. So we're still not going to be able to get everything in one load. But it'll go a lot faster than running the Deutz tractor and the 2 wagons. So I'll run this to MFA, then we'll come back and get the last load. That should be enough between the 2 loads. Then we get started on the silage bunker. Well, I have learned I do not like this grain truck, because every time it starts tilting a little bit, it stops. Then you have to just start it again. I've been doing this for a while now. Hey, I'm empty though. So I have no idea how much I got in corn, because I'm not going to add up all those numbers. It was quite a little bit. It was good money, but I don't like this truck. Not sure what was wrong with it. I've used it before on another series and it worked just fine. Maybe it's just that delivery point. Maybe I'll try a different place on this map and see if it'll let me deliver it. But I'll go back and finish this, and then we will probably wake up tomorrow and maybe build the bunker. That'd be a good plan. So we'll see you in the morning. Well, now that it is July and raining out, it's a good day to build our silage bunker. So that's what we're going to be doing. We're going to build the silage bunker right over here along the road and this driveway. So when we go back to the south place, we can come right over into it without having to go too far. And if we ever do silage across the road in the 100-acre field or the 55, it'll also be close by. So let's get construction started. There we have it. This is going to be our silage bunker. Hopefully it fills up like it's supposed to. On the real farm, we didn't have, of course, the rocks on the side, but it was in a place kind of like this. It was a cement bottom, and it had a dirt embankment on each side. Since I couldn't get the dirt to go all the way to this base here, I used the rock to try to kind of blend it. So that'll be our silage bunker. And as soon as it stops raining, we will go get our hayfield fertilized again. So let me wait till the rain stops and we'll get to fertilizing. Well, here we are on the second day of July. It finally quit raining and dried up a little bit, so we can get out here and get the lone tree fertilized up nicely.
Now that harvest season is just around the corner and the temperatures are starting to get cooler, it's time to begin getting equipment ready for the fields. This is episode 6, the end of the 80s.
Welcome in, everyone, to another episode here on Grandpa's Farm, 1980s. Well, now that the south place is ready to be chopped, we're headed to a farm auction where Grandpa had bought a self-propelled chopper. We're going to go pick it up and bring it back to the farm so we can get down to the south place and start chopping some corn. So won't you join us? Here we are to where the auction was. They said it should be right down here. There it is. There's our little 2-row self-propelled harvester. Hopefully it'll chop the silage up nicely. Let me pull it up here and the ramps down and load it up. I was really hoping he would find a 3-row, but this little 2-row will do all right. It's still better than the little 1-row pull behind. So, I mean, it could be worse. Let's see if we can get this thing loaded up right. If I remember where the wheels are on it, from where my point of view is. It's like right underneath me is one of them. Let's see if we can pull up. I kind of think the one we had on the farm, the back wheels were actually a little closer together than this. This isn't too bad. Hey, I'm not sure what brand this is. Orcan. I mean, we would have had, I believe, New Idea on the farm. Here we go. Get this thing shut off, get her strapped in, and get her back down to the farm. I think we'll just offload it right up here since we have to go hook up to the silage wagon anyhow. Straps, ramp out. shut the truck off. We're done with it. All right, we'll swing over and hooked up to that one wagon. Now on the farm we had several wagons, but like I said in the previous episode, this one's actually in pretty good shape. This one here. And since we don't have a lot of people on the farm to do the work, I think I'll probably just use the one wagon and probably use the Plainsman tractor to pull it around and pack the silage pit. Yeah, I might bring the Oliver down for the packing of the silage pit. I'll get hooked up to this wagon and head down to the south place. There actually was a new idea forage harvester I found somewhere on the internet. I can't remember if it was on King's Mods or just where. The only thing is, when I actually put it in the game and tried using it, I believe it was the one that the view was upside down. So I'm like, well, that's not going to work. Got to be right side up. So we went with this one. This is pretty close on resemblance of what the real one did look like. It was the right color. But here we go. Let's get this all set up, turned on. All right, let's get this thing fired up. See if it's going to work right. 2-row guy. Hey, it's working. Perfect. Really, am I going to run over crops with it? Ooh, kind of looks like it. Be really close. Kind of looks like it just kind of pushes them over, though. I think if I went the other side, the head's kind of centered in the middle. So it doesn't look like I'm really kind of running them over, though, aren't I? Oh well, it's not going to be too bad. Let me get one of these filled up, do some headlands around it so we can try to maneuver a little bit. Actually runs pretty fast with real speed on. Let me put it on regular speed, see how fast it can go. Let's see, 4 miles per hour, is that it? Well, that's really slow, so we're going to flip on the real speed mod to let it go a little faster. And 8% full. So I would say we'll be able to almost get around the field before we have a full load. I'll see you when we're full. Well, I did end up going with another one of these silage wagons. One was just not going to be enough. This way I can have, you know, Dad or Grandpa running back and forth in the field with the forage harvester while we, you know, bring the silage over to the silage bin. So that's what we're going to do. This way we just keep getting it done faster. You know, I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know how much of the field we're going to be able to do till the bunker's full enough for us. You know, we don't have a whole lot of head of cattle. We only operate with between 100 and 200 head, so that's more than enough. I made it around the field one time and then back and forth through the field one time. So, and we got, I think it's 88% full. I knew there's no way I'd be able to turn around in the field, so I wanted to just stop and pull that trailer off and we'll start the next one. I'll get hooked up to this and then get Grandpa or Dad in the field to start chopping some more. Well, Grandpa's off to chopping in the field, so let's run our first load to 22,000 liters. We'll probably, once we get some of this in, we'll take the big Oliver, since it's got duals, to be able to pack this in. Now, when I was a kid, my job was to be the silage packer. I used a white 4180 with wide tires. It worked out really good. There we go. Let's see if I can figure out how to dump this in. I did go with the side dump on these. That is actually what we had. Boy, it actually dumps out kind of slow. Wish it was a little bit faster. Kind of struggle to do. Of course, I guess in real life you go pretty slow when you're dumping it out of the side. This has pretty nice graphics though. Stop it here, we'll turn around and go back. This gives a little bit of expansion when I start packing the ground. Wish it would actually show the silage coming across that chain. I don't know if you've ever done silage before, but how often did you have the drive chains break? The chains that are underneath all the silage that pushes it to the front. That was something that did happen more than I wish it would have on the farm. Then you got shovels in there trying to scoop it out to be able to get access to where the chain broke. Yeah, it was quite a project. Dad had to fix that a number of times. I got in there a couple times to help scoop it. You know, I was a little bit younger back then, so it wasn't a whole lot I could do. I do remember the chain breaking. You always hear that loud pop. Nothing was good at that point. Dad would never be in a happy mood when that happened. Nobody would. It'd be a miserable thing to have happen. There we go. First one unloaded. Let me get back and maybe the next one will be full for us. On our second wagon, I went with the open top, and I don't think it's quite right there how it overflows on the back. Wish it was leveled out a little better. It's alright. It'll still fill the bunker just as easy. Just won't look quite as good. So this was my big job during silage duty. Just going back and forth, packing the silage. And that's just what I would do all day. Dad would bring in the new silage to put on top. I'd pull out of the way. He'd dump his load off. I'd get back up in here, start driving back and forth. And as he went back to get another load from Grandpa, normally when he'd get back, Grandpa would have another load ready for him. But the one thing that would happen with the white 4180, the gear shifter would sometimes come out of its holder in the floor. So that happened to me once. So I was going forward, went to put it in reverse, and well, it came out of my hand. So next thing I know, this is what I was doing the rest of the day. Always going forward at that slow speed. Come back into the silage pit and go across it again. And that's what I would do all day. Once I pulled that thing out of the ground, I wasn't able to get it back. Thankfully in the game, we don't have that problem, so we can just keep going back and forth. I'm pretty sure they got another load ready for me, so I better get back over there. Of course, now we've already come out of the silage pit. Packing it in the ground is overflowed, but oh well. Getting some in there. Still got a long ways to go, though. So let me get back and get the next load. Grandpa got this one filled clear to the max. Not gonna get any more in that without it falling off. Oh, we're good. Starting to get quite a little bit in here. Got another full wagon waiting for us. And we're getting pretty close to being done with that field. Filling this up pretty quick. I think it's time to pack it in again. Grab the Oliver and get back over here. Not sure. Let's see how many liters we do have in here. Looks like we got 121,000 so far. It's pretty good. Already 94% packed. I think we're packing it pretty good, and we're just bringing the plainsmen back and forth across here. That side chute on it, instead of using the whole front, really does help too, because it puts them in kind of almost rows that we can pack in really easy. And so far I have not got it stuck. I kind of thought maybe I would, but it's doing pretty good, getting right through it. If the extra axle on the trailer helps too. Here, 100% packed already. Alright, well let's go back and get some more. Here, just got a little bit left here and we will be done. Just got this little bit in the middle of the field to finish up. Got one full wagon there ready to go to the silage bunker, and we'll be done with silage for the season. Let me finish chopping this. I do like the inside cab view. It's finally something you can see. Normally when you're combining corn you can't see anything, but with a little 2-row head you can see everything you're doing. So but I'll finish this up and we will run this all to the silage pit, get it packed in and covered up. Now, On the farm, we packed the silage pit, but we never covered it. So it just stayed uncovered all year, or all winter, and then until we needed it. Once it was dry enough, we would get back in and start scooping it out, feeding it to the cows. Sometimes we'd mix it with a little hay. Like in the game, you know, you mix it with hay and straw. Well, in real life, we just fed them some silage, sometimes some shelled corn, and then some hay bales with it. That's how we did it on the farm. And let me finish this up and we'll get it all to the bunker. This is our last wagon load, another 12,000. Hopefully it's smooth enough I don't get stuck in here. I haven't got stuck yet, so we're doing really well. I really do love that big Oliver for packing this. Does a fantastic job with the duals. In the 90s, we actually ended up getting a Massey Ferguson tractor. I think it's maybe an 8400 series. And it actually had triples on it, but we never put the triples in on it because obviously it would never get through any of the gates on the farm. Way too wide. Supposed to be too wide to really get down the road. So we just kept the duals. Just had an extra set, or an extra, well, I guess it'd be 4 of them, extra 4 tires for spares, just in case one of them went flat. And I think the Oliver was the only tractor we would have had in the 80s that would have had duals on it. Everything else, like this one, would have had singles, and the 4180 would have had the wides. I actually prefer the wide tires. I think they did the best. I think they did better in sand also, when you're working in the field. The wider the tire would hold up really good in sand. The duals, it would just let the sand kind of get in between, and I mean it would dig its way out. I mean, when you would turn back and forth, it would dig out pretty good. But the wider tires on the 4180 would help keep you above the deep sand dunes. All right, well, let me grab the Oliver again and finish packing that in. Looks like we're already almost fully packed in. 98%. 157,000 liters in here. It's quite a bit. Of course, I had no idea how much we actually would have really had on the farm. So we had no way of measuring silage. Well, there were several loads we would have hauled back and forth. I think this will be good. But since this is Farming Simulator, we will cover it so it can actually become silage. It'd be nice if those rocks would have been able to go all the way to the pile, but they wouldn't. Let me get this parked. This side, we probably won't need it anymore this year to be done unless we disc up the field after we're done harvesting it. Come over here, cover it. There it is. Perfect. Now we're ready to advance some time, and then we can get back in the fields and harvest our 100-acre field along with our 55-acre bean field. Let me skip ahead a few months. Well, happy November morning to you. Here we are. We got our soybean field ready, and we also have our 100-acre field of corn ready. So we're going to get right to it and get started. Alright, let's see. It's been a while since I've used this combine. There, perfect. Get some soybeans harvested. This is a nice morning though. A little bit cloudy, but the sun's coming up. I can live with that. Wish we'd have a little bit bigger combine here on the farm. Maybe for that 100-acre field, we'll see if there's anything in the market that we could get to speed that up a little bit. You know, our little combine head straight ahead of us. That's going to go kind of slow in that cornfield, being as big as it is. It takes quite a little while to chop that silage with the 2-row, and that field's not near as big as the 100-acre field. But I'll do some of the headlands here and start hauling this to our bin, and then we'll check and see if there's anything available in the market. here we go. We got a 1972 Gleaner N6. Now we do have a New Holland head on it. That head obviously probably wasn't made in the 80s. But it works on this combine, so that's what we're going to use. It's a little bit bigger than what we had, and the Gleaner's a lot bigger than the little Massey Ferguson over there. So let me get Grandpa or Dad out here, get started in this field, and we'll see how it works. Actually, you know what? I'll even start it real quick. Let's see if I can get it unfold. There we go. I think I got everything turned on right. Started. Oh yeah, that's going to be a lot better than our little Massey Ferguson over there. Alright, now I'll see if I can get Dad or Grandpa out here to start working. Alright, now we can handle this. Got Grandpa over there combining with a new Gleaner. We actually never had a Gleaner on the farm. We were all, AGCO type family of equipment. The Gleaner was nothing that we actually had. It was all white or Oliver. Since I can't find those anywhere, we're using this Massey Ferguson and then that Gleaner. Actually, one of the combines, it was an Oliver combine at the South Place. The South Place was actually on a hillside. So Grandpa was combining it one day and got a little too heavy in the grain tank, and it laid itself over. Nobody was hurt. We were able to use one of our wreckers that we had on the farm to get it back up on its wheels. A little body work damage, but nothing major. That was one incident that we had. Probably put these in the wagons and then use the truck for the corn. Probably get one more headland done, and then we'll start going back and forth this field, because I'm sure that corn is going to fill up pretty quick. We'll need to get a worker to run this, and then we will run over and try to keep ahead of Grandpa with the truck. Now that does have a bigger grain tank on it also. I think it's about 12,000 liters compared to this one that only holds about 4,000. Here, let me get this finished up and we will go get the grain truck. Well, one dump with the Gleaner puts us almost at the 50% mark. About half full already. That little 2110, it's just not big enough to be able to haul those two auger or gravity wagons. So we're going to get probably the Plainsman out to start doing that. So let me go switch that tractor out and we'll help the other combine. I do believe the Plainsman pulls these a lot better than the 2110 does. So let's get this offloaded. We'll fill up one of our wagons. There we go. Be able to unload on the fly if I don't hit the head, that is. Start mowing the lone tree again. Get our final cutting of the year off of it. There. Close enough. Just let him keep going. Hopefully that tree won't be in his way. Hadn't been in the past, but I think normally I do more than one headland. Let me get in the 2110 and get that field across there mowed. Well, here it is. Harvest is in full swing here on Grandpa's farm. We got Dad and Grandpa both combining, and my uncle's down over there in Lone Tree mowing it up. But that should do it on this series of Grandpa's Farm 1980s. If you enjoyed this series, be sure to slap that like button. And now we have channel memberships available, so please consider becoming a channel member of Auto Sim Crew so you don't miss any future episodes of Grandpa's Farm, where we are going to probably advance to either the 1990s on a different map, or we may even advance clear to the 2000s to get some different equipment and different appearance on the map by using a different map. So we hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, we hope to see you again in the future. So until next time, have a blessed day, and bye-bye.
But he that doeth truth cometh to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest, that they are wrought in God.